Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Reignmakers Fantasy Golf Show, brought to you by DraftKings Reignmakers. Shout out Reignmakers, man. Shout out the game that is Reignmakers PGA Tour. I wrote up an article today and I said that Reignmakers is breaking my brain. I absolutely love the peer-to-peer element of the NFT fantasy game that is Reignmakers. It continues to provide unique and interesting angles to think through that just traditional DFS really doesn't provide. In traditional DFS, it's all about ownership and pricing and how to get the best lineups together that give you the upside, the ceilings to score big and to win those big prizes. And Reignmakers has those elements, but the peer-to-peer angle and the idea of buying and selling these assets on a week-to-week basis is just something that continues to challenge the way in which I think about Reignmakers. If you guys have been following this show, you know I continue to say that I'm a buyer in this market. And this week, when I looked at my teams, when I looked at my portfolio of cards, I had 2 additional elite cards that I couldn't field an elite team for. And I just thought to myself that it might be time to unload some of these assets. These 2 cards were a DJ Trahan and a Martin Trainer elite card. Nowhere near sort of the best of the best golfers, definitely middling options in just about any field that they're going to play in on the PGA Tour. DJ Trahan, probably a bottom option, even in lesser field events. And I was able to sell them. I moved them pretty quickly at the low ask, which to me showcases that there's some equilibrium happening at the elite tier in the marketplace for DraftKings Reignmakers. It shows me that there are buyers that are filling out lineups that want to participate in the game and want to do so at a price point that is comfortable for them. So I think it's very, very unique and interesting to continue to think about Reignmakers and the peer-to-peer options that Reignmakers provides that is just different and unique than most any other fantasy that I've ever personally played. So I continue to think about it. I continue to think about my total investments. And I think all of these things matter. When you've made your biggest chunk of your investment in the very beginning of the season, call it 80, 85, 90% of the money that you want to spend, and you're sort of middling with your budget now that the latter 2/3 of the contests are ahead of us, and we're about a halfway or 1/3 of the way through. I think, when to buy and when to sell becomes a very unique and interesting proposition for any tournament on a given week. I wrote that one side of my brain says that DJ Trahan or Martin Trainer could go out and make the cut, and not only make the cut, but maybe T20 or T10 even, but their ceiling is maximum T10, right? Or maximum T20, maybe even. And I could move them now. I could move them with ease, and I could put some cash in my pocket to then either just essentially recoup as part of, money against the, as part of the ROI that I'm gaining from getting into these tournaments, or redeploy that capital. And even though that I sold them for much less than I would have, than I paid for them, essentially I got them from packs. So it just ended up being the luck that I had in terms of packs. I ultimately have a decision to make on what do I do with that capital? How do I reallocate it? What do I buy? I've been buying, so it's just part of the buying and selling element of Reignmakers. So it continues to challenge the way that I think about Reignmakers and continues to, be an interesting angle. JM's in the chat. Shout out Stogie. Shout out Josh Allen. Stogie says we're 5 minutes past. Yeah, this was just me being late. I was trying to get the Twitter machine going. I was trying to get the links out there. I was trying to do all the things. So shout out to me for always having a little bit of tardiness in my game. We're 5 minutes late, but we've got plenty to talk through. Bunch of questions in the Discord. Shout out Jolly Joker Discord. Shout out Reignmaker PGA channel. Bunch of questions in there over the course of the last couple of days, which I really appreciate. We'll dive into those. Quick bit on the golf course and the field. We talked about it on Monday's episode, but it is a very top-heavy field. It is Scotty Scheffler and then everybody else. And you can see that over on our site, otmnft.com. Let me share this so you guys can all take a look and see. Here we go. This is our players view. You can navigate to the Reignmakers Pro section. Players. This gives you a look at every player, their odds for the given tournament this week, which is the Byron Nelson, and then the low ask across core, rare, elite, legendary, Reignmaker. It is Scotty Scheffler, whose odds are only continuing to fall, which means there is more and more bets on Scotty to win. He's down to 360 from, I believe he opened at plus 450. So there continues to be money piling in on Scotty. And then a little bit of a gap, and you get to Ty Hatton at plus 1200. The last time Ty Hatton was at the top of the odds board was the Valero Texas Open, and he missed the cut. So interesting. Ty Hatton is going to get another shot here at the top of the board. He's just been playing very good golf. That Valero Texas Open seemingly was an outlier in his recent performances, but hello, golf variance. That happens in golf tournaments at times. And while it doesn't happen a ton, it certainly can happen on any given week. After Ty Hatton, it's Jason Day right below him, Tom Kim, Hideki Matsuyama, and then KH Lee. Actually, looking like KH Lee, who was plus 2,000, moved down to plus 2,500 into sort of what I call that middling tier. Every week in my article, I pick 3 golfers, one from the top tier, plus 2,500 and above, one from about 2,500 to 9,000. Of which this week is pretty large. What do we got here? So we had 5 golfers, 5 golfers, and then a bunch at plus 2,500 to plus 9,000. And then I usually go for a long shot plus 10,000. And this field plus 10,000 and beyond is sort of a crapshoot. I looked at tons of different guys, looked at all of the data. Nothing to me like stood out in a big way. I looked up Cam Champ, who played really well at Vedanta, but otherwise has been sort of a disaster. I looked up Mackenzie Hughes, known as one of the best putters, on the PGA Tour, and played well at the match play event, but otherwise has been a bunch of struggles. Ryan Palmer has been pretty popular. Vincent Norman is popular. Shout out Jesse over there in the DraftKings Discord for Reignmakers. He called out Vincent Norman. He's played pretty well as of recent, but in general, when I looked at, hasn't been the greatest with the putter, and you're going to need to putt well at TPC. At the TPC this week, because it is going to be a birdie fest. It's only been an event at this course on the PGA Tour for the last 2 years. Of note, KH Lee won in 2021 and 2022. So KH Lee has a chance for the three-peat, one at minus 26 and minus 25 under par. You're going to need to make a lot of birdies. It's an iron course. It's a putting course. You're going to need to make birdies. You're going to want to put together streaks and bogey-free rounds in order to find yourself at the top of the leaderboard. So that's just the nature of the golf course. And when that's the case and you get a top heavy field, boy, look out. It's really hard to fade Scotty Scheffler this week. I have a core Scotty that I will certainly be playing up in a rare contest, and we'll talk through my lineups and how I think about playing up your core cards and playing up your rare cards. But in general, I think it's Scotty versus the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if Scotty Scheffler wins this thing. I think he is maybe coming back after a couple of weeks off, wanting to warm up before the PGA Championship. And, I think if you don't have any Scotty in your portfolio, you're looking for, I'm calling it pedestrian for Scotty Scheffler. Anything outside of the top 10, definitely anything outside of the top 20 would be a strong fade. He could still find himself in the winning lineup, even at, T20. He definitely can find himself in the winning lineup at T10 because he will be heavily owned. I expect if you've got a Scotty card, you're struggling mentally, and shout out Stogie had this question, feels bad not playing the Scotty cards that you have at captain. And I agree with that. At rare, elite, legendary, and above, if you have Scotty, you're playing him as captain. I'm opting to play my core Scotty up. I think it's an interesting question of, if you have a rare Scotty Scheffler, would you play a rare Scotty Scheffler up in an elite contest? And I think it totally matters on the cards that you have. And that was kind of Stogie's conundrum this morning that we were all chatting about in the Discord. He has some legendary cards, Michael Kim, Thomas Dietrich, and who was the other one? Troy Merritt, and could put together a legendary lineup for the legendary contests because he has a Scotty Scheffler Elite, and I believe it was a Siwoo Kim Elite. But when you think about the number of lineups that are on these contests, that sort of is what I went to look at as soon as we start having this conversation. And I think Glib in our Discord pointed this out. If you look at Elite, there's 766 entries in the Elite Guaranteed Contest. And also the Elite Guaranteed Contest pays out more at the top, 10,000 at the top. When you look at Legendary, pays out 5,000 to the top. You're going to still need a very strong lineup, and it has 471 entries, 471 compared to 766. There's only so many Scotty Schefflers out there. So in general, I think it makes a ton of sense to say, hey, I'm going to not play in the legendary contest because I can't play my elite Scotty Scheffler at captain in a legendary contest. I'm just going to opt to play him as my captain in this elite contest and try to hit the nuts and take down the $10,000 prize to first. So I think all of that logic and thought process makes a ton of sense. And that's the challenge that Reignmakers presents, where you can play cards of different rarities up or down. That is the intricacies of building and creating the puzzle or solving the puzzle that is the lineup creation on a week-to-week basis. All right, I'm going to jump over into our tools. I wanted to take a look at market before we jump into my collection and building some lineups. I wanted to take a look at, this is 24-hour volume, so our market page will show you every single card. If someone has 5 different core cards, it'll show you all 5 core cards. Roger Sloan tops the board at 24-hour volume of 34 cards purchased. Other than the fact that Roger Sloan is 88 cents, I don't quite know exactly why he is the top bot card. A couple of guys that stood out were Steven Yeager and Aaron Wise. Yeager has been playing really good. Rode him up last week as a long shot guy that could make the cut. Definitely went on to make the cut. His odds are much, much better in a much weaker field. Plus 4,000 for 378 makes sense why his core card is being bought. And then Aaron Wise stands out to me. Comes back from a 6-week hiatus, a mental health break, and will be interesting to see how Aaron plays. Prior to him taking that mental health break, he wasn't great. His statistics were a little bit all over the place, was losing strokes across the bag, and opted to take a mental health break. So it will be interesting to see Aaron Wise coming back. I have myself an Aaron Wise Elite that I pulled in packs. I opted to play Joseph Bramlett over Aaron Wise. We'll get into my lineups and the decisions that I had, but just opting to put him in the secondary elite contest that I had. So we'll be interested to see what ownership looks like and where Aaron Wise's odds go. Definitely a weaker field, but plus 6,000, and no idea how his form is going to be coming back from his mental health break. We'll see how that goes. Michael Kim. We talked about Michael Kim a bunch. Makes sense why his 24-hour volume is up. 7 made cuts in a row in some strong fields. Finished up the Wells Fargo, probably the strongest of fields that he was in 7th place, 91 fantasy point, DraftKings fantasy points, gained strokes throughout the bag. So that's why Michael Kim is being bought. I like to take a look at this at the rare and the elite tier as well. I think you just get much different results in terms of where people are buying, especially from a rare and an elite standpoint. Look at rare. Cage Lee sticks out to me. We talked about this on Tuesday, going for the three-peat. I think I said on Tuesday that no one has ever done that. I definitely think Tiger has. I don't believe many others have, but yeah, it has a chance at a three-peat. Max Homa will have a chance at the three-peat next season at the Fortinet. A couple other guys will have a chance at a three-peat here in the fall swing. But right now, Cage Lee, chance at a three-peat, loves this golf course, was quoted to say that you need to make putts and you need to hit iron shots, which totally makes sense. You're going to have a lot of long irons in. So the players that are best with their long irons the golf course tends to favor them. And then you're going to need to have a hot putter on any birdie fest type course. So it's going to come down to putting. Let's look at elite. Anything stands out here? George McNeil ton of buys. Elite for $17. Can't really buy it. Can't really get a better deal there. McNeil's in the field. Super, super long odds. But if you're looking at just rounding out a lineup, $17 isn't bad for a $10,000 total prize. And you never know what could happen in golf. Anybody else stand out here that's different? Let's see. Eric Cole. Eric Cole, even at $150, very interesting to me. Has been playing really well in terms of the statistics. Almost everything lines up for Eric Cole. So I really like his game and the way he's been playing. $150 to me seems a little steep. Let's go back to the player's view and take a look at Elite, and then get to who's around Eric Cole in terms of pricing. These are the intricacies of, you know what? Let's go the other way. These are the intricacies that Reignmakers presents. There's probably only a couple of guys. Yeah, we'll get to 150 faster this way. All right, let's see who we got around him. Jaeger. Where is he? Uh-oh. Maybe I was looking at, was that the cheapest? What's happening here? Oh, his elite low ass is actually 109. So in market, I was probably getting confused there by a specific card, but 109 for Cole. Let's see who's around his price of 109. Okay. You know, it takes a little time sometimes to navigate the site, find out the information that you want to see. Show me the top 60. Sam Ryder, Bo Hostler, Matt Wallace, Eric Cole, JJ Spawn. JJ Spawn's interesting. I think he'll likely get into a bit more events than Eric Cole. Let's see. The field for next week's PGA Championship is out. I believe Spawn is in the field. He is. I don't believe Eric Cole is in the field. No, he is not. So, yeah, I think if you think about buying decisions, you need to be thinking about future tournaments as well. So, to me, I'd be looking at Spawn over Cole and in general for next week. But for this week, Spawn, I believe, was a withdrawal because he's in next week's tournament. But if you're looking to buy for this week, obviously Cole over Spawn. But I think Spawn will get into more events. I think Aaron Rye will get into more events for about the same price. Wise, like we talked about, is interesting. You start to get up. This is definitely a bit more expensive, $10 more. Michael Kim is here. Scott Stallings is here. I like Scott Stallings a good bit. He's going to get into a lot of events. World Golf ranking of 66. He's going to get access to a lot more tournaments. Is Stallings in the PGA next week? I believe he is. Yes, he is confirmed. Stallings is in the PGA. So I think like a couple of those guys, better than Cole, but I like the way Cole fits into this tournament a lot more than some of these other guys around him. So an interesting view for the current week. All right. I think that does it. I never highlight Sniper, so I want to highlight Sniper. Sniper, you can come get a sense of what's being listed. It's a live feed, able to filter on whether you're buying for a specific tier, whether you're buying a specific golfer, and you can take a look at what the listed price looks like. So this just got listed, this Justin Suh Elite. Looks like it was listed $10 under the low ask. So it is the Genesis card. It's the best you can buy for Reignmakers fantasy score purposes, and it's a $10 discount. So someone trying to move a Justin Suh, if you're in the market for an Elite card, not a bad buy. So good view for where cards are being listed at the low ask. And shout out that Jolly Jokers Discord. I believe it was Hammer picking up a good bit of rare deals in core deals from the Sniper. I believe he said he got a Justin Thomas core for $10. So low ask right now is $15.50. Got a $10 Justin Thomas. Very nice buy from a core standpoint. So take a look, head over to Sniper if you're trying to fill out your collection. Good way to try to snag some deals on the marketplace before they're eaten up by others. All right, let's get into lineup builder. I cover this every week, but I think the lineup builder that we have on our site, it just provides the most amount of flexibility to be able to build your teams comfortably and to be able to move guys around. Sorry, just catching up on chat. Stogie said, didn't JJ Spawn withdraw? He did. Yeah, covered that. He was in the field initially, then has withdrawn because he's in the PGA Championship next week. Probably feels his game is in a good spot. So yeah, Cole for this week, but for people in and around Cole's price, especially at the elite tier, like Spawn over him, just because he's going to get more access to more events, more utility, the more access these guys get. So yeah, like that for not this week, but for weeks moving forward. Okay, back into lineup builder. It provides the best amount of flexibility, in my opinion, to be able to move guys around. Withdrawals have been big. Spawn is actually the guy who a lot of people had in their teams, had pretty high odds, then withdrew and had to then change up a lot of your lineups. If one card sort of falls out of place, your entire suite or waterfall of lineups can be impacted. So to me, this gives you the ability on the right here to just click any given golfer, take them out of your lineup. Let's say I wanted to change Shank and Joseph Bramlett. I can come down here, pick my spot. The green top here shows you what position you're on. So let's say I wanted to put Shank up here and then captain Bramlett in the second team, able to do so pretty easily. So I think it provides the most amount of flexibility. One thing I find myself doing a good bit is not saving my lineup. So make sure you come down, make some changes, click save lineups. It'll turn green for you, and then you should be locked and ready to go. This will save every time you save it, and every time you return, it will give you the exact set of lineups. So it's a nice tool to sort of build your dummy lineups. And then Wednesday, at some point in time when you go to enter them in the DraftKings contests, you just come here and you know exactly, hey, these are the guys that I'm playing. Make any final tweaks. Hey, man, everyone's tinkering until the very end. It's all part of the game. Make any final tweaks you need to make, and then get those lineups submitted. All right, so this week I talked about being a seller in the market. As you can see, had 6 playable elites here, had Martin Trainer and DJ Trahan to round up my elite cards, and just opted to sell them. It was just the time to sell. They're playing in this event. I don't know how many events DJ Trahan and Marty Trainer will get into. I believe Trahan was an alternate that got into the field with all of these withdrawals. So to me, it just made sense to relinquish them to another willing participant in the marketplace, play my 2 elite teams, and not play any other elite cards down or anything like that. Take a little bit of money off the sites and see where things lie. Maybe a nice rare deal pops up. I believe I sold them each for roughly $25 or $30. So put 50, 55 bucks in my pocket. I think you can buy some solid rares for that $50 mark. Last week, it reminds me of my purchase, bought Cam Young for 58 bucks. I want to say something around there. And to me, one Cam Young rare is certainly better than a Marty Trainer elite and a DJ Trahan elite. Yes, it's a losing transaction in terms of what I paid for in packs. But to me, again, marketplace equilibrium is important. I'd rather have a healthy marketplace where there are buyers and sellers versus trying to get every dollar out of every asset. So there was a willing participant. I bid them adieu. I hope that and I wrote this up, I hope that they do better for their new owner than they did for me. But we move forward. So my top lineup this week is Hideki Matsuyama, Adam Scott. Adam Scott has been absolutely fantastic, striking the ball incredibly well, played great last week at the Wells Fargo. Love his game. Joseph Bramlett, the bomber. And man, I guess lucky me, TJ still surviving his recovery, still got a little bit of a raspiness in his voice. Not going to join us this week, but he likes Bramlett. Pick of the week for him. And yeah, that little swap I made, Shank for Bramlett, that's definitely not happening now. Bramlett locked in to my top team. And then I rounded out with my 2 best rares. Tom Kim, wrote up Tom Kim this week. Absolutely love Tom Kim. Adopted Texas as his home, plays at Dallas National. The tournament is in Texas this week. Should be a pretty big crowd favorite. Everybody loves Tom Kim, has some of the best odds, hits his irons incredibly well. It will be a question of if Tom Kim can find the putter this week. I looked up his stats, and the putting isn't great, man. The putting is not great. But if there was ever variance to be had, the putter has the highest amount of variance. And maybe Tom Kim just absolutely laces his irons this week, hits everything inside 10 feet, and doesn't really have to rely too much on the putter. Knock on wood. But I'll take Tom Kim this week. And then I'm going for the KH Lee three-peat here. I also wrote up Tom Hoge. My decision this week was Tom Hoge or KH Lee. Both of these guys hit good irons. Hoge actually strokes gained approach number one in the field. Strokes gained approach just barely better than Scotty. But I opted to go KH Lee. I'm going to play the odds. Who knows? This might be a final tinker for me. But KH Lee's history here and being a repeat champion and something to do about this golf course, I'll opt for KH Lee, I think, in this top lineup. And I think then my second lineup is pretty strong. Adam Schenk, who played really well last week, maybe finding his game a little bit. Aaron Wise, a little bit of an unknown. Talked about that in his mental health break, but like his upside here, Aaron Wise could just go out and win the tournament. So we'll see what happens. I also believe, let me look this up, actually. I wanted to look this up. I believe that Wise's only win, does it come at this tournament? I don't think it comes at this golf course, though, because, of course, it's only been 2 years and KH Lee has won both. But where is Wise's only victory? Let's see. Yeah, it is at the Byron Nelson. It was just at a different golf course. Won it in 2018. So different golf course, but same nameplate. So maybe that brings out a little mental positivity for a guy whose mental health state was in question. So maybe that brings out a little bit of positivity there. Kevin Roy, a lot of people in the industry, shout out Tambo and his tidbits. Shout out the word tidbits, great word. Tambo had written up, he writes his Jambos Tidbits every week. Great Twitter thread. I like to read it every week. And he highlighted somebody that highlighted Kevin Roy as the best play in DraftKings DFS under 7,000. Kevin Roy ranks 1 in the field in long iron play. So if you bucket the approach play with long irons, Kevin Roy ranks 1. So I'll take it as an elite card that I have. Going to need to find the putter, as always, in a birdie fest, but just looking to make the cut there. And then Tom Hoge, Siwoo Kim, 2 strong rares to round out my top elite team. And that brings me to, again, the conundrum that is DraftKings Reignmakers and how to build teams. I could build a very strong rare team. Tom Kim, KH Lee, Tom Hoge, Siwoo Kim, Scotty Scheffler, right? Let's add this lineup. Boom, 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 boom. Take Scotty out of here. And then build this team. Tom Kim captain, KH Lee, Siwoo Kim, Tom Hoge, and then my core Scheffler. And man, that is a really strong, rare team. Now, what do? Do I build this rare team and play that in the rare guaranteed contest? 35K guaranteed, 2K cash to first, or with 2,300 entries in it? Or do I break up those solid rare guys? Do I enter 2 lineups into this elite guaranteed 10K to first, 700 lineups in it? So 1/3 of the lineups in here. Bigger upside. I think the play is to continue to break up and play your best cards upwards. Now, who knows how that's going to pan out? The game of, tricking yourself and looking at other results is never all that fun to play, just looking for maximum pain. But to me, that's how I think I'll be doing it. I'll save this just as a look back for Max Payne if this lineup in this suite of 5 guys goes off. But in general, I believe I'm going to opt to play Tom Kim, KH Lee up in one lineup, Siwoo Kim, Tom Hoge up in another lineup, and see where the chips fall at the elite level and just sweat those couple of entries into the guaranteed contest. That said, let's take a look this week. I could get into this guaranteed rare, the elite gated contest and the rare. Unfortunately, the wife and I have a wedding on Memorial Day weekend. What do you guys think? Should we just enter it? If we win it, we then figure out what we do. If we go ship this and send somebody to the wedding in my place and then go enjoy the Charles Schwab. I have no idea how my wife would think about that, but an interesting conundrum, if you will, again, for how to play Rainmakers. I loved following the gated contest last week. I did enter the rare. I did get 5 of 5. I finished nowhere near the top. I think it was 70th place. It needed to be in the top 15 to take home the 500. I do like the fact that they pay out 500. So this contest, let's see, how many guys does it pay out? 12th place will get up to $500. I like that. It was a fun sweat while it lasted. $500 for a rare team is a nice floor. So it makes a ton of sense, but you need all the upside in the world in order to take home this contest. So yeah, do we get tricky and sneaky and enter this elite contest for Saturday and Sunday? It will be fun to see. We'll see. I'll make a last minute decision. I think I'm just going to go guaranteed, but who knows? Maybe things change. All right. A couple other questions that I want to get through here today. If you got questions, fire them in the chat. Shout out all you listeners, always making it interesting for me to look up this information. All right. First one was from our Discord. Vincent Norman, Luke Liss, Hank Lebioda, Landry Haas. These 5 elites active for the week. So I have no idea what Hammer ended up doing, but he opted to say, which 3 do I play in an elite contest and which 2 do I leave out and play down? So I'm going Liss, Norman, and then Lebioda, I believe. Lebioda Landry for me is interesting. Let me look up Lebioda. Lebioda was playing really well in the early stages of the year. Finished 3rd, I believe, in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Let's see what his recent form looks like. All right. Looks like hasn't played in a bit. 70th at the Honda, 18th at the Zurich Classic. So interesting there. Hasn't played since the Zurich. So I think he's viable for sure. And then Landry, I think the odds favor Lebioda as well. And when we're this deep, I think you're kind of just looking for, where are we at here? All right. Sorry. Let me go. My filter's wrong here. Date. Yeah, Landry's missed his last 4 cuts. Last time he made a cut was the Valspar, finished T45. Week before that, Puerto Rico Open T40. So yeah, give me Lebioda there over Landry. Aaron Wise, this was actually Stogie, JJ Spawn versus Aaron Wise. The decision got made for us. Aaron Wise. I think if that conundrum or question, I like the word conundrum today, were to exist, I would have said JJ Spawn over Wise just for the unknown. I think Spawn has just as much upside as Wise and has been playing golf. So I'll go from there. And then another great one from Sir Per was Davis Riley or Brandon Wu. And this was a tough one. I really think this was kind of a coin flip. One thing that I will look at now, Brandon Wu is in the field for the PGA Championship. So is Davis Riley. So both of those guys playable next week. Riley's win comes in the team event at the Zurich. So let's see, Davis Riley. Let's see what he's been up to besides that win. Cut at the Wells Fargo, cut at the RBC, withdrew from the Valero. I think he was hurt there. And then Wu, I think I'd go Brandon Wu here, just more consistent as of recent. Third at Mexico Open, which he loved that course. This course sets up sort of similarly where it's long. It's not exactly penal. You'll need to make putts, and Brandon Wu has done that as of recent. 26th at the Zurich, cut at the RBC, 58th, sorry, at Valero. So yeah, I would have gone. I would go Brandon Wu there. So interesting conversation there. But that was pretty tight. I think those two are pretty tight. All right, Block Menace Mafia says, could you make me a solid 5-man core team? Yeah, so I think this is where we kind of need to get. Let's go here. This is where we need to figure out, like, do we need to get different, right? So let's go players. We'll see the odds. I think you have to go Scotty, but every core is going to have Scotty, right? But I think we just get different elsewhere. Scotty, way too good. So just lock Scotty into captain. I'm going Ty Hatton, Tom Kim, either Hideki Matsuyama or Jason Day. And then probably KH Lee. And the question becomes, will that get duped? I suppose it will, right? So let's say you go Scheffler. Let's opt for the cheaper guys here just because. Let's fade Ty Hatton, Scheffler, Jason Day, Tom Kim, KH Lee, and then somebody else to get different. Seamus Power played really well at this course the last 2 years. He's a boom bust golfer. He's a favorite over there in our Discord. Just checking out what his last couple years here looked like. I believe he has a top 10 and a top 20. Let's see. Seamus and the Byron Nelson. Yeah, 2021 finished T9, 2022 T17. So it's only been played here 2 years, T9, T17. So Seamus Power, someone that you could get a little bit different with there. I like Tom Hoagie. So yeah, I'll say let's lock in something. Scheffler, Hatton, Tom Kim, KH Lee, Seamus Power. I'll go with that team as my 5-man core team. But yeah, I would kind of not fade the top of the board, and I think it's fine in this field to just get different with one golfer. In some of these fields, you need to get different with 2 golfers, but it's definitely interesting in this field. I just don't see everyone having these 5 guys or 6 guys in their portfolio. And I don't see them saying, oh, I need to buy a Hideki Matsuyama. I need to buy a Tom Kim. I see them saying, you know what? I have Adam Hadwin. I have Joseph Bramlett. I have Brandon Wu. And I just build the team based on the cards that I have. So to me, I think you can just get different at the 5th spot, which is fine. So yeah, give me power to get different and give me some combination of 4 of the top 6 golfers on the board. All right. Couple other Discord questions here. What did we have? Oh, someone was talking about putting. Yeah, we talked about this at the top of the show. I mean, Tom Kim, his putter can go ice cold. It's been proven that that's the case. I'm just betting on the fact that putting has so much variance in it, and it's a tough stat to look at. Someone that did look like they withdraw, but I liked from a putting standpoint was Sam Ryder. I was looking to pick him up actually for this event. I think he withdrew, so don't buy Sam Ryder, but had an incredible stretch of golf in the more recent in the January California swing where he was just gaining strokes every week putting. And at some point in time, putting doesn't become variance. It just becomes that you're a really good putter. I think people will think that about who here, 2 guys, one Taylor Montgomery, who just always has had a really, really strong putter. And then Mackenzie Hughes, I think I mentioned that too. Great putter, known as one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. Yeah, putting has a ton of variance in it. I would use it to kind of make tiebreaker type decisions most likely, but it could come and go on a weekly basis in a pretty big way. And it's usually a stat where if someone's gaining a ton with the putter, it's something where I might be weary of that performance. Michael Kim actually comes to mind here, where he's just absolutely lighting it up with the putter, but he happens to also be lighting it up tee to green, which is why he's playing so well. So it's a question of, can he continue this stretch of total golf that he's been putting on display? And I think that is ultimately, why you'd be thinking of getting on Michael Kim in your lineup this week. All right. Any other questions out there? Shout out Midnight Duck over there in the DraftKings Reignmakers, or DraftKings Marketplace, if you will, Discord, pushing some of the content that we're producing here at OTM. All the content presented by DraftKings Reignmakers, giving us the ability to put this out there to you all, giving you the information and the data you need on market information, pack information. Man, there were some unbelievable packs this week that got bought off of Marketplace that happened over in our Discord. Somebody pulled, who was it? Actually, let me get the name, because it was just incredible. But they pulled a Adam Scott Elite and Rory McIlroy Elite from a pack in the Marketplace. Tinsel Tom had all the pack luck in the world on 2 packs. So, I mean, cannot beat an elite pack with Rory and Adam Scott just playing really, really high-end golf. And Rory is going to find it. Still 2/3 of the season ahead of us. I wrote this up in the article this week. Over $6 million left to be had over the course of the remainder of the season. 27 events still to be played. Lots of money up for grabs. Lots of sweats to be had. And lots of good puzzles to solve. I really am enjoying the Reignmakers game, and the fact that it does break my brain at times means that there's good nuance, means that there's probably some edges to be had. And looking forward to this week's sweat. I will say, man, my teams, I don't think I've ever had a team with this high of odds in the elite tournament. So probably looking at Max Payne, but if all 5 guys can just manage to make one cut one time, you never know what can happen. And looking forward to the sweat this weekend. That is the Byron Nelson, of course, PGA Championship next week. We'll be back on Monday with the recap of the Byron Nelson, the preview of the PGA Championship. The majors always bring out the best amount of people, the biggest amount of people, the best contests, more deluxe contests up for grabs next week. So we'll get TJ back at full health next week. Hopefully his Bramlett call absolutely smashes it, and I take down all of the money. And we'll be back to celebrate on Monday. So tune in there. Until then, catch me over in the Jolly Jokers Discord in that PGA Reignmakers channel. Any questions, last minute 1v1 decisions, would love to pick your brain, have you pick my brain, and continue to enjoy the ride that is Reignmakers this year. Looking forward to it. All right. All that said, I think that will do it for today. Best of luck in the tournaments. Head on over to our site again, otmnft.com, for all the information you need to build your teams. And I will talk to you guys all next week. See you later.